to Tech Pression Spaces. My name is Ibukun Bankole. Yes, this is the first edition of Tech Pression Spaces, and I can assure you that it's going to be an interesting one because we have a great guest in the house with us. And on Tech Pression Spaces, we're going to be exploring different conversations as regards Africa's tech space and how we can begin to improve it, how we can begin to maximize technology to ensure that Africa becomes the dreamland that we expect it to be. Once again, my name is Ibukun Bankole, and today we're discussing leveraging AI for career growth. We know that a lot of people are already afraid that they might lose their jobs, and there's a study that says that 30% of Africans and people around the world are already afraid that they might lose their jobs to AI. But is that really the reality? Is that what it is, or is that a facade? Well, we'll be finding that out today, and how AI can empower you and how it will not exactly replace you, and whether or not you need to start thinking of a new career or upskilling. I want to appreciate my guest here today, Mr. Lanre Basamta. Thank you for joining us today on Tech Pression Spaces.
Thank you, Bukun. I mean, it's nice to be here, and I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Lanre Basamta is the CEO and co-founder of Optimus AI Labs. He brings nearly 2 decades of expertise in tech, business, and marketing. And throughout his stellar career, he has shaped brands and driven growth in Nigeria, holding key leadership roles at Interswitch Cellulant Nigeria, Sidmark Technologies, and System Specs. Mr. Lanre is an alumnus of Lagos Business School's Senior Management Program, and he holds a master's degree in strategic marketing from the Metropolitan School of Business and Management in the UK, and he has several other degrees as well. Now, with his wealth of experience in management, governance, and leadership within and outside Africa's tech landscape, Mr. Lanre will definitely be dissecting our conversation on how you can leverage AI to boost your career. But now, my first question is, what exactly is AI? Everybody is just saying AI will make me lose my job. But what is artificial intelligence?
Thank you, Bukun. And I think that's a beautiful place to start. And I say that because AI is such a buzzword now. Everybody, you wake up, you do not wake up well, is AI. You sleep, and you had a bad dream, is AI.
Yeah.
Simply, what artificial intelligence means is simply the intelligence of machines. It's as simple yet as basic as that. And what does that mean? AI didn't just start with GPT in 2022. AI is a journey of continuous improvement over the last 70 plus years, as a matter of fact. And so over the last 70 plus years, countless scientists and leading researchers all over the world have tried to evolve machines so that we don't necessarily have to control machines every time, so machines can help us. I'll give you an idea. Mankind probably started with the discovery of fire thousands of years ago. And then we discovered hoe and cutlasses to cultivate the land. The truth is, we've always had technology, okay? But the downside or the drama is mankind always needed to use technology before technology functions. So if you do not use the hoe, you cannot cultivate your land. If you do not use the cutlass, you cannot cut through anything. And so mankind had always thought, what if I could get machine to be a bit smarter? So that instead of controlling machines every time, machines support me by taking some of the job. So if you think about your vehicle, like manual cars, they're actually automatic cars, okay? And so what it means is, instead of you powering your vehicle manually, they've added some intelligence so that if you tell the car to drive, you put it in drive, it starts moving. And so that thing called AI is a culmination of more than 7 decades of research to put more intelligence on machines so that machines are intelligent to support you. And there's a world of use cases that I hope we're going to be talking about in a short time.
Yes, I thank you for that clear explanation. It's pretty much, maximizing machine learning, or, improving device function and ensuring that it works optimally with less supervision. Pretty much. Yeah. So, if we're thinking in that aspect, I think people shouldn't be as afraid as maybe they are. But now, we know that maybe there are some industries where it might not fully, at this time, affect. But what industries are already being taken away by AI pretty much, because some people say, for example, we know of ChatGPT. Copywriters are already afraid because many business owners, small business owners, are like, I can do it myself. I can just go to ChatGPT and it gives me something. But what other industries or career professionals need to be aware that, oh, okay, this might happen sooner than we think?
I think we should maybe make some distinctions between general artificial intelligence and generative AI,
Okay.
which was what became a buzz in 2022. Generative AI, unlike the regular AI, are AI platforms or systems or software programs that can generate outcomes, intelligent outcomes from logical inputs. And that's why if you think about platforms like ChatGPT, like Gemini, there's something we always talk about. We call it prompting, where you instruct the platforms and then they bring out intelligent outcomes. I mean, when I say we, I mean the whole world made a massive breakthrough in 2022, and it's led to this revolution that we now think is the whole thing about AI. Now, let me be frank. Generative AI is frankly going to affect virtually every facet of human existence, including broadcasting. Over the last 3-4 months, we've been training maybe Africa's largest media house and trying to show them how AI is revolutionizing the media industry. And so there is now in this world a full-fledged AI TV station where all the presenters, all the program, all their correspondents are actually AI bots. They are not human beings. So if you ask me which industry, which segment will generative AI not impact, I'm not particularly sure I know. But I suspect where your question is what are those ones that are maybe the lowest hanging fruit or the most prone to the risk of AI? I think the question is not more around the industry, it's more around the roles and functions that generative AI is going to impact. And I think where to start are those functions or role that are predictable, repetitive, and I mean, with due respect, predictable, repetitive, and easy to automate. And what do I mean by that? For example, today, things like driving may not be easy to automate if you think, but there are driverless cars all over the world.
Yes.
And so if you think that it is just some function, some writing and design, I mean, as huge a thing as piloting planes actually pilot themselves now. There's a function in plane called autopilot. There are functions in cars called autopilot. Okay, so the truth is where generative AI is going to start from, the biggest revolution is going to be in functions around repetitive functions and functions that are easy to predict, because you can simply just instruct machines and say work like this and they do work. And you're going to see that more in functions that require us to write. I mean, I told a friend that many years ago, for example, I remember very clearly in 2015, somebody paid me 500,000 to write them a proposal.
Nice.
2015. The money that I made actually from that deal, I actually used it to start a business. Now today, anybody and everybody can get proposals in 5 minutes from ChatGPT, from Gemini. All those businesses are completely dead. Next one. I used to be so valued amongst my peers and in the office because my biggest asset is my mind. I can think. And when you hear people say that their best quality is strategy, I mean, they sound cool, right? Say I'm a strategist. But 2 years ago, I was putting together the strategy for my business. I mean, I used to work at InterSwitch. I led the mobile business in InterSwitch, where I was responsible for looking after 84 banks in 14 countries in Africa.
We're still discussing leveraging AI for career growth. Yes, across Africa, it's not a conversation for just maybe Nigerians, for a subset of the African continent. It's for all of us, so that we can better position ourselves as individuals, as professionals, so that we can actually still be useful and relevant years down the line. And I still have Mr. Lanre Basamta here. You were discussing earlier about how you've been going for trainings, empowering people as regards this conversation. So
yeah, I mean, thank you. And I was talking with respect to what won't AI impact?
Yes.
What wouldn't change because of AI? And I was saying that I go around different campuses for many years, consistently, 3-4 months in a year. I typically go around training. And when I go around training, it takes me anything between 6 to 7 hours to prepare my slides, an average presentation. So let's say I make 30, 50 presentations in a year. If you multiply that times 6, you can imagine the numbers of hours Today, I can spend just 20, 30 minutes with AI, get those things done. So the truth is, and it's not just things around writing, because that's where many of us started from, GPT and text. We're having AI impact text to video, text to audio, codes, meaning that my son can learn coding faster than I would have tried to learn. And I tried learning in 1997. Only God knows. So the truth is, generative AI, as we know it, is literally going to impact. Now, I suspect where your real question is going is, which jobs are going to be lost? I suspect you'll get there. But let me try and anticipate that question by saying that AI undoubtedly will take some jobs. But I think what will take a lot more jobs is people with AI skills will take away jobs from people without AI skills, because AI has become the benchmark. And this is how I will land it. In 1997, my parents registered me to go to a computer school to learn typing. When I tell my young colleagues at work, they feel like I'm ancient, because now nobody learns typing. On our phones, we all type, including my 4.5-year-old daughter. Everybody types. But once upon a time, your parents need to send you to a typing school, either to learn on typewriter or to learn computers and type. But today, typing is the benchmark. That's what AI is going to become. AI is going to become such a benchmark technology that if you don't have AI skills, it will be hard for you to thrive.
Okay, so now, as much as the ideal thing now is to have AI skills so that you can not be left out, I know people still want to find out what skills are in the immediate going to be affected. With jobs. Like I gave an example of copywriters. If copywriters don't begin to maximize AI, they would be left out, because I mean, in the end, people can just go there and prompt. But if you don't have professional copywriting skills, maybe you might not know how to use these generative AI softwares to get the ideal information that you require. But on as much as I know, maybe you're trying to avoid mentioning.
No. I mean, I can
jobs.
speak. No. So I was speaking to the role and function for a reason, because it's not necessarily a job for copywriters. Remember, writing as a function is not just what copywriters do. It's what
Yes.
secretaries do.
Yes.
It's what you and I do when we send reports to our bosses.
Yes.
And like I said, last month, I was training the reporters of Channels TV. I mean, I can mention the name now. And the reporters of Channels TV were asking how AI is really going to impact on their role. So it's not a job function. It's the function of writing. So writing, I mean, one of the reasons why when we're training Channels TV staff, one of the things they asked us is, now I'm reporting breaking news from the governor's office in Edo State. This was the use case. If I'm reporting, my responsibility, if it's a breaking news, all I need is to send 2-3 lines to headquarters and say this news is still breaking. But if I want to write my report and I'm on the road, how can AI help? And I was telling them, what you ordinarily do is that you send 2 or 3 lines as breaking news.
Yeah.
Then later you get to your hotel or you get to your house, you now write the report. Do you know that right now there are voice to text AI functions that will allow you to do that, and your first report in the next 10 minutes is actually the full report. People can do it on the go. And so the normal reporter without AI is waiting to get to the hotel, but the news is now 6-7 hours old. So what will happen is that it's not that the roles most of the time will be eliminated, is that guys that cannot drive automatic cars will not be employable, because there are no more manual cars. And so it will be that people or professionals who cannot use AI to improve their outcome, to be more efficient, to deliver qualitative outcomes, will not be desirable or employable. They will not get promoted. When their mates are doing 15 reports per day, they are struggling to write too, because they are still in traffic. They are the one driving.
Yes.
They don't even know that they are voice to. So that's the way I want you to see that. It's not necessarily what roles will be. It's that generative AI will impact every facet of our lives. AI will become. It's like somebody in this age who doesn't have a smartphone. It's not that they can't function. It's that nobody desires them, because if they need to write a mail, they'll still need to get home to their laptop.
Yes.
And so you can't really, those people are not future facing, and they are not maybe relevant for this age. That's what AI is going to change. And that's what the biggest change is going to be.
Okay, now thinking about, future facing and understanding AI and being able to maximize it, or understanding how to use it, what exactly are the mindsets that one needs to have now to begin to think, okay, so for example, for me, or I'm a media person, oh, okay, I use ChatGPT, I use several apps. I need to think deeper. Okay, what other ways? How can I better maximize AI? What else can I use AI to do to make my job more efficient? So those kind of mindsets, even if it's like a 3-step guide, 4-step guide. So even if our audience don't remember anything today, they know, oh, there's a 4-step guide. Let me begin to practice with this.
I mean, that's brilliant. And I say it's brilliant because the biggest change we all need to make with respect to AI is cultural. It's in our head. Okay? And what is that change? Is that this thing is not going away. We have to live with it. And so the first thing, I mean, one of the most popular things is that people fear what they can't understand. You have to be interested. You have to be curious. So I would say first is cultural change, to say it's not just a sudden technology. It's the things that all these small children use. No. It's old, young. Everybody needs to understand it. So you need to make a cultural shift in your mind. I mean, that's the first. The second change you need to make with AI is that you need to retain originality. And I mean, I was at an event in May, and I was speaking at a big career event, well attended by thousands of persons. And whilst I was talking, I got more than 150 requests on LinkedIn.
Wow.
But 3 of those requests sounded exactly the same. It was the same line. Apparently, many of these kids, they just go to ChatGPT and say, how do I introduce myself? So I'm like, what happened? I thought something was wrong. It's because people don't understand that ChatGPT or generative AI platforms and technology, they are supposed to be tools. They are not supposed to be you. It's like I was coming here for an interview and then my car is knocking, trying to get in. It's not my car you invited, it's me. And so tools are supposed to amplify. They're supposed to lever you, not that they are supposed to be you. And so even though you want to use tools, you need to retain your originality with respect to effective usage. In fact, outcomes from ChatGPT are so pervasive that people now wonder if the letters that they receive or the communication they receive are genuine at all. Okay? And so the best way to get the best outcome from is to retain your originality in your communication, in your tone, in the way you use to, so that the tools would amplify your outcome. Just like the example I was giving with respect to the reporter.
Yeah.
You are the one who knows the report you want. And so GPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever is only helping you to amplify your originality. And then the third one, which is great, is what I'll say the magic of generative AI is called prompting. Prompting, that's what everybody should learn. And what is prompting? Prompting essentially is like you're writing code for a software program.
Yeah.
If you don't understand code, forget software. It's the same with AI. People see things that AI have done and they are thrilled. The best way to know the best way to know the most qualitative output from generative AI is when we do an evaluation of how to know if AI has helped you. Because more likely than not, people are using AI Nometer. There are different tools, they call them AI Nometer, to evaluate, if AI has written this. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you use different platforms today and type the same query, even though they're different platforms, there's this high likelihood that you get the same outcome. So how do you retain not just originality, but you get qualitative output? If 10 of us are looking for the same job, we can tell the job, I'm going to an interview as a product manager. What should I do? Everybody's typing in AI. They're getting the same result. So how will you perform better when everybody's typing the same thing, the same AI? So that secret is called prompting. Prompting is an iterative journey towards discovering your best outcome. Even AI, as smart as they are not sufficiently smart until you continue to ask and add context and add sequences to help make AI input better. And so the good thing about prompting, unlike software development, is that you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to go to a software school. I mean, my son has been in a coding class for 2-3 years now. You don't need to do all that. You can stay online and learn about the science and the art of prompting. The beautiful thing is, if you understand the principles of prompting and you add your own uniqueness, you will always get outcomes that are different than mine, even if we put the same
Very
input.
true.
And that is what makes you unique. That's why you can retain your personality and I can retain mine, and we can still continue to shine.
So that's great. So I'm trying to put this in perspective for individuals who might not get all that has been said. So pretty much it's like saying I have an assignment to talk about what is broadcasting. And that's a question for everybody. Yeah. But then instead of going like an average student would and put or let's not even use schools because we're talking about careers. So I have a job interview that says they need a presenter who understands entertainment. And then I wouldn't just copy that and paste it. I'll put, so I'm applying for a job where these are the requirements. You must be this, this, this. Please help me use my CV and highlight places where I did entertainment across Africa and highlight the value that I brought to those events. So that's it, giving it context pretty much, and so that it adds your own nuances and what makes you.
You don't even need to be that smart. The good thing about prompt is you can ask, I'm going for this interview, what should I focus on? And then it gives you input and you say, well, I think the job is more around a presenter that has experience in entertainment. What should I emphasize? And it gives you an idea. You can say, okay, the context is Nigeria. What are the leading entertainment things in Nigeria you want me to hold? Okay. If I'm going to drop or summarize this interview into 5 bullet points, can you give me ideas what it should be? What you start asking and to the point where it makes you
This is great now, because this is another perspective. Having conversations, it's pretty much just having conversations on what's going on in your head till you get to that final place, instead of just dumping something there. So I mean, this
final thought on that. One of the cultural change we need to make is to understand that while you are talking to a machine, the machine can get you better input if you really personalize it. And I tell people, one of the first thing I do is that when I'm using Gemini, I mean, I'm sorry I say Gemini, but it's my best tool. When I'm using Gemini, the first thing I do is, hi or hey Gemini. I want it to feel like I'm talking to a person, so that when he starts giving me input, I can say, no. So yesterday I was telling, please continue. It generated a lot of images for me. I didn't like the image. I said, please, can you generate this content without images? The more you change your cultural barriers, the more you realize that you can get a lot of beautiful output.
That's pretty interesting, because I know someone who does that. Say hi.
I always do that.
Hi, Perplexity.
I always do that.
So it's interesting. Okay, so I know some of us would have questions to ask. So if you have a question to ask at this time, please feel free to indicate, so that so that we can take your questions as regards anything that concerns your job. It could be pertaining to your job. It could be generic. Anything that you're bothered about. Just feel free to indicate, and then I would let you speak. Okay, so since we don't have that at this time, now we're saying people should maximize AI, and then you've said something as regards cultural shift in the mind. But then we know that we are in an era where everybody is talking about difference in generations. Me, I'm generation X, you as a generation baby boomer, Y, and all of that. Now, for baby boomers, so those who are already pretty much retired or retiring, what advice would you give to them on how to maximize AI? Because I think it still boils down to cultural shift, without feeling like, this is not me.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the biggest shift all of us will make, except maybe the younger ones who are tech native, or we call them mobile native, is that we need to culturally shift. I mean, people still think I'm young. I like to think that, but I feel most of the time old also. And I think that for people who are much older, by design, old people always look behind. Young people always look ahead. It's just designed that way. But I mean, that's why when a much older person is speaking, he starts saying, "Oh, this happened this time." They're always looking back, which is fair because they have a world of experience behind them. But for young people, there's not a lot of experience. All their lives are ahead of them, so they're looking ahead. And so the real big shift is first that cultural shift to say the world is not just changing; it has changed. In the year 2022, we made maybe the biggest significant leap forward in technology. Bill Gates, one of the biggest, most impactful technologies ever in the history of the world, says that there are 2 things that have changed mankind as we know it. The first one he said was the founding of the internet. The second was he talked about the mobile phone. Now he says that he believes that generative AI is perhaps more impactful than the founding of the internet. We all don't know it because we're right in the middle of it. So we all don't. A lot of the time when you're in something, you don't see enough of it. But if you stepped back, you need to see how our life has completely changed. I have a 9-year-old son. He's going to be 10 in a couple of months. He utterly, completely studies for his book with a personalized AI tutor that he uses. And I was speaking at a radio station the other day, and somebody was asking me, so how do we deal with telling our children to go and write their assignment when they can do their assignment in 2 minutes? Life has changed. Before, some parents used to use assignment to manage their kids. Oh yeah, between 4 and 5, that's your job, do your assignment. They can do the assignment in 5 minutes. So how are we even sure they are learning? But life has changed. And so for people who are much older, who seem to think that as it has been before, so it will always be. No, it wouldn't be. And so the first change is to say, culturally, I need to face forward and say, if this is not going anyways, then what do I do? Okay, how do I, let me be curious about it. But if you stepped away from that, is to say, being older, either in your professional career or in your physical life, is not a burden that AI cannot respond to. If you're retired or retiring, there are responsibilities you have for your personal well-being and health that AI can help with. Can give you ideas. I mean, I was traveling very early in the year. I was out of the country for the first time in my life. No, well, not the first time. The last time I ever thought about physical well-being and fitness was in 1999, 25 years ago. And then I realized that I wasn't feeling good earlier in the year. The year didn't start great. So I decided to join a gym. I registered at a gym. And then about 2 weeks after I registered at the gym, I had to leave the country. And then I was wondering, what do I do? I'm leaving the country. I just registered for a gym. That was the first time. I work on AI. But it really didn't occur to me that AI can help with my personal fitness. So I downloaded a personal fitness app, it's Fit AI. Because now I realized that AI can actually help me. And so when I was out of the country, the Fit AI app tells me what I should do in the morning, what programs I should observe, what length I should walk. It taught me everything I needed to do. And so even as a much older person, in your personal well-being and health, AI can help. But if you were retiring from a career and you needed to think about new businesses, I just told you AI is the best strategist. It can give you the best possible ideas, not just about the business idea, but how to raise funding, how to attract customers, how to grow your brand, how to market your product. It's a world of limitless possibilities. And so why wouldn't you want to think about AI? But much more than this, as you grow older, you become quieter. I mean, that's a fact of life. Because many of the friends you have, some unfortunately die off. Some, they are now parents, they have their own problem. And so you become lesser. What's the best place to potentially stay connected to friends who are all over the world, to learn how to make new friends, to network, if not AI? So I'm saying that generative AI is what you make of it. The real limitation is your mind. What can't you do? I mean, I was at a conference in June, I think, or May, and I was telling them about AI, but I think they didn't get it until I told them the next day was a Saturday, and I had a prayer meeting, and I was saying that AI helps me with my prayer meeting, and then it became such a drama. They're like, how will AI help you with prayer meeting? And I was telling them a part of preparing for prayer meeting is to put together the prayer point, is to put together the Bible verses, is to think about how to articulate the prayer point in a way that it blesses people. And AI could help me. So the truth is, as a Christian, as a Muslim, as an atheist, as whatever, as a business person, as a retiring person, as somebody who wants a friend, as somebody who's lost a friend, as a widow, as a widower, yeah, I can help significantly. The only barrier really is with you. Whatever it is, wherever it is, yeah, I can help.
Wow. So, I mean, my mind has been opened way beyond what I've actually ever thought. I've always known that, yeah, AI can help everywhere. But thinking about it now, I'm expecting that everyone goes home with the fact that AI can help me in almost all, let's say almost all areas of my life.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have a couple of listeners who want to ask questions. So, King AB, you can go on to ask your question. King AB. We can't hear you at this time. So you might have to speak up. Okay, so let me pick someone else to speak and let's see if. So we have Black Rika 10. Black Rika 10. Thank you for joining us. So let's just see if we can get Black Rika 10 to say something, and if we can, then we can move on. Okay, so I'm expecting King AB and Black Rika 10 to speak up, but if they cannot speak up, now we've spoken about it is helping us, it can help us across human existence, it can help us. So now that we understand we can maximize the tool to, and you've given us 3 points: cultural shift, maintain your originality, and prompting. So generative AI can help with prompting. What exactly should individuals, business people in general, because even business owners, I feel like career people, because their career is business, how can they now begin to use it for positioning on social media? Now, the reason
Okay.
I'm asking this is you've said something earlier as regards people just dumping prompts, people just, and then so it's easy for you to just see all these things. And these days, you also raised it, and which my MD even said recently that these days you just see people online and they are looking so fine, and the English they've spoken is a whole lot, and so you're wondering, are you sure this person is real? You don't trust until you meet the person in person, pretty much.
Yeah.
So now, in this is in terms of interaction. How can I maximize AI to begin to interact with people personally in terms of responding to comments, responding to people?
If you really want to, I mean, I tell people the real magic of the internet is that the internet, aside from people, is the most valuable place in the world. I tell people, I mean, if you know what is going on in our country, where there's non-stop unrest in the Niger Delta because of crude oil. A barrel of crude oil is maybe $150. People in different parts of Africa are dying every day for gold. A bar of gold is $2,000. A lot of crimes are committed online because of Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is about 60K USD. But one human being is more valuable than all the resources in the world. In fact, all the Bitcoin in the world were created from the head of one man. That's how you know human beings are valuable. And then think about it. More than 4-5 billion people are on the internet every day. So the internet is a gold mine. So I agree with you. Your question is, how do we now optimize this gold mine? Because if people are killing themselves because of the oil in Niger Delta, imagine the oil on the internet. Imagine the treasures on the internet. And so if social media is our house, many people's house on the internet, because not everybody has a website on the internet, but many people have profiles on the internet where they say, this is my front shop, this is my domot.
Yes.
Okay, how do we optimize that? Different way AI can help you. See, the currency online is content. That's the currency. That's the only way you stay relevant. That's the money you pay people for people to come and patronize you. It's content. And what can help with content generation? I mean, that's why we call it generative AI. That's what it was doing, generating content. You just tell it, I want to post, generate ideas. Not just, I'm not even talking about ideas. Today we have open free platforms that can generate video content, image content, textual content. Before, do you know they used to pay people to generate caption in this country? They generate caption. I heard before, my wife told me, she went to a wedding, and she said when you take pictures at the wedding, they used to pay people to edit pictures.
Yes. You pay more to edit, or if you want it like
No, it's not even a regular photographer. You take with your phone. They will say, send it to us. Somebody will, you pay somebody on your phone. Your own phone.
There are people that's what they do.
That's what they do. And there are free tools that can edit pictures, that can generate content, that can generate captions. Not only this, can schedule it for you so you don't have to worry. And so the real currency that they spend online, I can do it for you for free.
Wow.
Think about that. And then the real gold mine is engagement, where AI can help you engage, drive engagement, provide you notification, tell you there are opportunities here. It can help you do that. And so what you really, really need to do in this new age and time is to have your mind open. Because there's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to how you can extract value online. There really is no limit. So what's stopping you?
So, I mean, this is very instructive because I was wondering how you would respond to this. And this is why. We're trying to get AI to, we're trying to get to the point where we automate a lot of things, right? But then, you're automating you can schedule your posts. But now I understand that I can actually even leave AI to do the responding for me because I might be too busy to even have time to respond. But the AI can actually assess what somebody is talking about, then give a valuable response to it. That's very, very critical and very, very. I'm just blown away by that. I need to really think again. So that's the beautiful thing of anchoring and asking the questions. I'm also learning. Thank you very much. So I want to see if King AB can speak now. King AB, are you here with us? Please remember that you can always request to speak. Okay, so thank you, King AB, for joining us on this conversation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, well done, the host and our guests as well. So it's been an impactful session so far. So if you are saying AI will not replace you, I actually think this word is relative. Let me give you a scenario. 5 programmers are working on the project. So and later, the project owner laid off 4 of them. And tell the only person left to continue the job using AI.
Okay.
So basically, so the owner told the last person that what you need to do is just to guide right from to AI, guide the project to completion. Taking that for instance, the other four programmers too. I mean, they are learned people. They are learned people. They understand AI. But can we still use that word that AI will not replace it? I just felt AI, it has its own good side, but it puts people
Oh, I guess there's something wrong with King Gaby's network.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you if you can hear me.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I can hear you.
So,
Do you want me to respond?
I'm still, can I continue?
Okay,
Just
please
one more
continue. Please
question.
continue.
Okay.
Okay. So I was saying AI is good. It has, I mean, many advantages. I felt it puts people in a rat race. We have to compete. Everywhere we do. So okay, let me to prove myself to be the best. That okay, if something is going to happen, I'll not be affected.
Yeah.
I just felt it has a lot of disadvantages.
Yeah.
So it has its own good side too. So what do you say about that?
Okay. And that's a good comment question. I think that maybe many of us don't understand that the world never stops. So I'll tell you some story. I was in secondary school in 1991. Okay. And there was, only God knows the population of typists that we had in Nigeria. I don't know how old you are, but there are no typists in Nigeria except in the High Court. They don't exist. Typewriters don't exist. So I should clearly state that yes, AI will reduce the need for many of our human repetitive and manual functions. But it's going to create more things that never existed. It's like mobile phones. I mean, everybody talks about computer village. 20 years ago, nothing like that was there. So usually when a new technologies come in, it over time erodes the existence of previous. I mean, once upon a time when I started driving, I was telling my colleagues when we got here, clutch used to be a big deal. In fact, that's what we used to learn. How do you press clutch? Now, if that's all you were selling as a part seller, there's no business because there are hardly cars that are manual cars today.
Yes.
So I agree with you to the degree that there will be less need for some roles and some functions, but it's going to create more things. Everybody talks about social. Do you know there are career people now who call themselves influencers?
Yes, and that's their job.
There are people who are now digital marketers. Just 10 years ago, okay, no, maybe not 10, 14 years ago, 2010, that never existed. There were no influencers. Because even though there were social media, all of us was figuring it out.
Yes.
So there will be newer value points created. There will be newer opportunities created. That is what technology does. And you don't have to agree or like it. AI doesn't have a conscience. Technology doesn't have a conscience. Whether you like it or not, what will happen will happen. The truth is, where do you want it to meet you? On the right-hand side or on the other side?
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, King Avi, for your question. All right, so we have another question from Sheung. We have someone else, Sheung. Hi, Sheung. You can ask your question now. We have Sheung and Black. Okay, Sheung has left. So we have Black Eric 10. Hi, Black Eric 10. I don't know. Okay, so anyway, now that let's just go back to some of the questions, considering the fact that those who have questions are not pretty much speaking up. Let me try and invite some speakers since it's giving issues. Okay, so quickly, you said something earlier that I want to revisit as regards, maximizing AI with, you can create an AI bot to respond to comments and all for you. But I think, Sheung, can you hear me? Sheung, you can speak now if you have a question. Okay, so, all right, you said that, and if you're saying we can begin to automate these things in terms of, particularly as regards, relationships in our careers, How then, and then maximizing maybe generative AI, Perplexity, and the rest to help us with our tasks. Does that not make us reduce the rate at which we maximize our brains? And then now somebody, you've seen someone so great on LinkedIn and responding so well and is using ChatGPT on the job, and then you now say, you are such a wealth of, you are so blessed, would you come and speak to us? Then they ask questions and the person is blank. I mean, what I feel like there are issues that might come up in that regard. So how can career professionals begin to remember that because you're using AI, don't forget to expand your own knowledge and your experience as well?
I mean, at the core of it, you are the most important AI machine. I watched a movie where some guy had studied about how to fly a craft, and he even has a game where he could do simulations. So he flew, I think it was a copter, and then he didn't know how to land. Whoa. So I was calling from the copter, now I am up, oh, please, how do I land? Now, you can jump up, but you will come down. But if you grow up, you remain there. Whoa. There's a world of difference. And I say that because people ask me these questions from time to time. And one of the best ways I answer it is, if you remember 20 years ago, I was in the university. A bit earlier than that, maybe 27 or how many years ago, maybe 30 years, I was in secondary school. But while I was in secondary school, we were using scientific calculator. Can you remember?
Yes, of course.
And scientific calculators was actually helping us. And our parents were saying, these children are lazy. In our own time, there were no even calculator. We were using 4-figure tables. It's the same. Technology had always helped us. Whether it was scientific calculator or even manual calculator or even 4-figure table, something had always helped, and that's technology. It's just that we're in a world now where there's pervasiveness. I mean, people used to think that there was a time when people say data is the new gold. Data is now the digital dust. It's everywhere. Everybody has data. As I'm talking to you now, we're generating. So data is almost pointless. Now it's insight and intelligence that is gold because data is everywhere. So data access, everybody has it. And so the real issue is the person who makes the most of technology is the one who really, really understands what he wants to use it, because technology is a tool at the end of it. So if you try, you can get the best CV until you are queried about the CV. If you like, you can put together the best responses or post on social media until they really understand that can you really match up to what you're promising. And you know, they say time is our best enemy, it's also our worst adversary. It shows up really what's in you. It's like you thinking that I prepared for this interview with AI, which is maybe not impossible. I could, okay? But it is when you meet, I mean, I wanted to say this. We're working with a partner, and hopefully we'll close that, from North America, right? Who's asked us, his job really is training. And the partner wants to deliver training without being there. It's not recording, it's not video recording. The partner wants an AI-powered avatar to render his training. And you can ask the trainer, live training, you can ask the avatar, sorry, I don't understand this. And the avatar will intelligently answer you. People are doing that now. And he wants to do it such that he wants the training to be available in more than 200 languages, over 200 languages. Because there are people he trains that they are Ukrainian. Can a human being do that? No. Can AI do that? Yes. So one training, it can spread it all over the world and make a lot of money. People are doing that today. Even we in Nigeria are helping them to achieve it. Who says you can't do it? Who says you can't? So I'm saying that all of these capabilities are there. The real limit is you. But it's the first person. This guy is the one that has been doing the training for the last few years. People know him. He has credibility. So today, he has enough content that he wants to use AI to amplify and distribute. And that's what AI can help him do.
Wow, that's great.
So AI can be an amplifier. And not only can it amplify the good, it can also amplify the bad. It can quickly show you up in places where you don't want. So the real person is you.
All right, thank you. Adeyemi, Humanista Adeyemi, please, you have the floor. Adeyemi, can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I've heard everything that you can hear. You can hear me.
Yes, please go ahead.
I've been listening with rapt attention and the discussion going on, and I must give credit to the speaker.
Thank you.
Actually, there are some school of thought that the coming of AI, another technology, has made humans to be lazy. But anything they want to do, they have to go and ask AI. And then, do you think that it's actually the case that it has got to be? For example, maybe I want to write a book, so I will have to go to AI and I'll tell it to write a book for me. Do you think that it has made us to be intellectually lazy? And my second question is that, though with the coming of AI, has replaced jobs as well. Remember some years back, especially because as of today, I believe that the banking sector is the most advanced sector in terms of technology.
Oh.
I can remember some years back, if you enter the banking hall, so you see a lot of cashiers, where you want to pay money and then you do and all that. But now, if you go to the bank now, so you can only see a few cashiers, because the technology has advanced. The coming of ATM machine, you don't need to go to the bank to go and withdraw your money. So you can just do your thing on the phone. Any banking transaction, you can do it on the phone, and you can do it at the ATM or anywhere, even with the coming of POS. So what can you think? What do you think that can be done for technology to bridge this gap of trying to unemployment rate due to the advancement in technology? Thank you.
Yeah, that's Tosin, right?
That's Yemi Adeyemi.
Yeah, I think that's, brilliant two questions. The first one is with respect to, you talked about intellectual laziness. Let me admit openly on the air that I'm writing a book right now with AI. I'm a published author. My last book, I wrote it over 2.5, 3 years. We're writing a book now. Actually, I can get that book written in 2 weeks with AI. Now, is it that AI cannot write a book in 10 minutes? It can. Why am I using a few months to write it? Because if you really want to write a quality book, the book first starts in the mind of the writer. Even when we're writing manually, the first thing they will tell you to write is you should write your outline. And then you start writing the chapter. The real book comes from the mind of the writer. And so what you will find is that people are going to have more intellectual depth, even if they lack intellectual wit, because they get assistance. And it's the same story I talked to you recently about scientific calculator. Our grandparents, and my dad, they struggled to figure out. They were doing calculation with their hands. That's how they were plussing 2 by 2. But we were faster. And I told you, my son, he has 7 AI agents on his tablet. 7. My daughter is 4.5 years. She has 2. My son is already better than me in maths. I'm ashamed, but I have to admit, they are way smarter today because they can solve things, they can think things through, and they have machines to help them. Remember where I started from. AI is really the intelligence of machines. And so what you need to do is for your mind to pick things, and you can get machine to help you. And so what you will find is more efficiencies and better outcomes. Undoubtedly. The only reasons why we have planes, and there will be some errors, I must admit, because, just as everything, we need to iterate before we get, you remember some of the Boeing aircraft crashes in 2020 and 2021, because they were trying out a new autopilot technology that was making plane fall down from. There will be 1 or 2. But what you'll find is intellectually, there'll be more depth, because now you need to rigorously, like I'm writing a book now. When AI can write it for me, why do I need to think? I need to think more now to create original concept. That's the first one. The second question you asked is with respect to how can AI bridge the divide, knowing that there will be some job loss. And this is where the opportunities for entrepreneurship comes around. Before, I told you somebody paid me 500,000 in 2015 to go and help them identify opportunities and write them proposals. In this day and age, you can talk to an AI platform or AI agent to give you the best 10 ideas that are investable in, the best 10 ideas about new businesses you can start, the best 10 ideas about how to raise funding, the best 10 ideas about how to find customers, the best 10 ideas about how to market your product. So we're going to find many small young businesses spring up. They're going to take advantage of not just AI, but the world marketplace, which is the internet, but the world's biggest platforms, which are social media. There will be more young people. Today, when we were in school, all we were trained to do is to learn how to write CV and get jobs. There are many young people now who are doing what they call the gig economy. They're starting jobs. They are fully in careers that they don't have to resume offices. So there's a new wave of change. What we shouldn't is to be fearful of this change. The late Yinka Craig, what I remember him for, is his advert when he advertises Sad Zembra. He says, change is the only constant thing in life. My brother, this change is here, and it will continue to evolve. What you don't want to be is start right in the middle of it so that the change climbs over you. Embrace it. you will get better for it.
All right, thank you very much for that. Okay, so we have, I'm going to take Black Eric, and that will be all. Black Eric, thank you, Adeyemi, for your question. So, Black Eric, you can go on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, we can.
So my question is about the availability of data in Africa. Yeah, I did a project back in school on machine learning, but it's very hard to get data sets in Africa. There are no websites to get specific research data to train your AI, because most of the AI models are only what we have online, and most of these things favor European countries, other continents. But in Africa, we have little or no data online.
Yeah.
Like data of finances. I'm trying to run
Yeah.
a project based on real estate. We don't have any data on that. No research company really has data on real estate in Nigeria. So how do we scale this country?
Yeah. I mean, you've asked maybe the fundamental, and I didn't want to speak so much about the real AI and indigenous AI. I'll give you an idea. We've just built Nigeria's first AI-powered learning platform. The platform is called Ziki. Ziki is the first platform that allows Nigerian students to get personalized tutor for themselves. If you have a child, okay, yeah, if you have a child, you certainly can get your son or your daughter to go on Ziki and get personalized tutoring for their learning. Now, how did we get data? The first thing we did was that we found fundamentals. But very much, as I said, there is no data of Nigerian teachers and Nigerian students. So some of the things we are doing now is we have to recruit a lot of Nigerian teachers. We're paying them to help us generate data to train our model with. So it's hard. And I'm not going to deny, we're right in the middle of a lot of mess having to do this. It's not clean. Now, it's not that these data themselves don't exist. It's just that they're not existing in digital form that we can consume. So some of the data set that you need, you're going to have to create some of them. My brother, is hard. We're paying a lot of teachers for them to generate even the range that we need for us to say, if you're going to teach, for example, we want to create a platform that teaches brilliant students separate from average students, separate from low intentional students. And so you need to generate data for it so that when our AI tutor is teaching them separately, it knows how to break concepts down for them. So some of those things are not available and is an unfortunate but real world that we exist in. Some of those things you would have to invest in them. The beautiful side also is that government is taking the bold initiative. There's an AI initiative led by the Honorable Minister of Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani. And there's this AI initiative has brought together a committee of people who they are generating. For example, we don't have language. And so my daughter, who is 4.5 that I talked about, who uses 2 AI agents, she can't type as well as my son. So she needs to use her voice. But if my daughter was talking to the AI agent, I mean, she has Gemini on her tab. If she was talking to Gemini, it's going to be dramatic because Gemini might not understand her intonation. So we're hopeful that sometime next year or maybe before then, the project that the Honorable Minister is working on, where we can have Nigerian language available for developers and researchers and engineers like us to be able to translate many of the thoughts that people have. There are some people who can't see. They're visually impaired, so they can only talk with their voices. We need those things to be able to improve AI solutions that transform our nation. I agree with you, they're not there. But like I said, those changes are happening right now, and you can contribute to it positively too.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, we've had a whole lot to binge on and enjoy in the last about 1 hour. Thank you, Mr. Lanre Basamta. What will be your final advice for now? Because I know you still be coming around to help us dissect several other issues. But what's your final advice right now that if they don't take anything, if no one takes anything out of this conversation, that they can hold on to and it will help transform their lives going forward?
2 things. The first one, that quote from the late Yinka Craig, change is the only constant thing in life. Little wonder I embrace this change. Embrace the change that is AI. That's number one. Number 2, the biggest advantage of AI is its biggest weakness, the speed of obsolescence. What you knew yesterday is frankly expired. Things are happening. The last hour we've been here, billions and billions of dollars, maybe trillions are invested in research. New things are happening. And so you can't face tomorrow with yesterday's skills or knowledge. You need to continue to be curious, stay curious. I mean, that's the only way. If not, you are going to age faster than you really are. You are going to be yesterday's news when we're making newer ones today. So no matter the skills that you have, no matter the degree you studied, no matter, even if you graduated with first class, that was yesterday's drama. Today, there's a world of knowledge, world of possibilities. embrace it and you remain relevant.
So embrace it, always learn. Constant learning is important so that you don't lose your relevance. Thank you very much, Mr. Larry Basamta, for being our guest today. And thank you all for joining us on Twitter. Now X, I still love to call it Twitter. Anyways,
I do too myself.
I think we all do. That's why we have this.
See, we're struggling with change.
We're struggling because you see X and in brackets, formerly Twitter, because people are still living. So we also need to change our mindset and, move with the new. So thank you all for joining us on X Spaces. Yes, and we'll be having more of these kind of conversations going forward. And so you can follow us on X now at Tech Pressure News, and you can follow us on Instagram at Tech Pressure News, on Facebook. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. And let's just continue this conversation. You have to stick around because a lot of these other conversations on how you can maximize technology would be ongoing from time to time. My name is Ibukun Bankole. Thank you for joining us. And please remember, change is the only constant thing. Keep redefining yourself. Thank you very much.